they're actually making a remake of it. The old movie's called What Women Want, and it's based on this question that Freud asked at the end of his life. You know, what do women want? And in the movie, Mel Gibson stars in it, and basically Mel Gibson has an electric shock, and suddenly he can hear what women are thinking. So now he knows what women want. So that's the whole basis of the comedy. And the one they're making now is called What Men Want. It's the idea that this woman can hear the inner thoughts of men. But of course, the question is whether that would help us understand what the other person wants if we could hear their inner thoughts. This is something that I was exploring in a fairy tale that I wrote. I've just finished a book called Enduring Love. It's actually going to be out in a couple of weeks. There's a copy out there you can kind of look at. It's just a proof copy, so there might be a few typos in it. But it comes out, and it's a series of fairy tales that I wrote about these animals who are in this place called the Lonely Forest. And it's just very close to the 100-acre wood, but it's not as well known. And I named it the Lonely Forest because in 1910 a book came out by two physicists, Mann and Twiss, and they asked a question, and you'll know the question, but they put it very precisely. They said, if a tree falls in a lonely forest, does it make a sound? And I don't know, I find that very melancholy. I know it's a mind experiment. When I read it, if a tree falls in a lonely forest, does it make a sound? And so I imagined this world, the lonely forest, where all of these animals are trying to work out what it is to love, what it is to desire, what it is to live, and what it is to die. And it's called Enduring Love because love is so difficult to endure. These little animals are trying to endure the horror that is love. The horror that is this excessive desire for one person or one thing over everything else. And so I'm going to show you one of these fairy tales. This is called the Lake of Truth, and I've gone high tech for this. This is the badger, by the way. I always say it's a beaver, but I've been told it's a badger. The badger who tells all the stories in the Lonely Forest. So there he is. He's going to tell this story, the Lake of Truth. So the story is very simple. There is this little mouse who is down in his luck and depressed because he's lost his job. This is the time of the recession. This is like set 10, 15 years ago. He lost everything. He had some money invested in houses, lost it all. He had a good job that just completely taken away from him, and he's just like, he's a disaster, right? So doesn't know what to do. He's sitting in his little humble dwelling, and he's reading the paper one day. And as he's reading the paper, he sees finally a job that he's qualified for. Now, this is not like a fancy job. It's definitely below his pay grade. It's below his skill level, but beggars can't be choosers. And it's a job that's in the Lonely Forest. So he goes to the Lonely Forest and he interviews for the job, and fantastically, he gets it. Right? Now, I say it's just a factory floor job, nothing fancy, but it's something. So he packs his few belongings and he moves to the Lonely Forest. And when he gets to the Lonely Forest, he starts his job. His job is basically putting the tops on acorns. Right? So as I say, it's just a conveyor belt job, nothing fancy. But he makes friends, everybody's nice, they have a bit of a laugh, everything's good. Well, anyway, once he's settled, once he's got his job, he starts to get to know people in the Lonely Forest. And one day, while he's out shopping at the grocery store, he comes across this beautiful guinea pig. And I think you'll all agree she is stunning. Beautiful, beautiful woman. And he's like immediately taken by her. It's like, oh my goodness. And he doesn't know whether he should even talk to her or anything like that. He's just like so taken by her. But she, in her own way, is taken by him as well. And they start to become friends, and then they start to become, not boyfriend and girlfriend, I don't know what you would say in the animal world, mouse friend and guinea pig friend. And it's wonderful. They go on walks together, they look at the stars together, they're deeply in love. But this poor little field mouse is insecure. And he can never get out of his head the question of whether she really does love him. Now, he always asks, he always says, do you love me? And she always says the same thing. Of course I love you. I loved you the day I met you. I love you this very day, and I shall love you till the day that I die. But it never quite satisfies him. In fact, one day he gets so depressed he just can't work anymore. And his friends don't know what to do. But there's a slimy frog who's the floor manager, and during a smoke break he goes like, come on out, let's have a chat about this. He says, what's going on? Right, you seem very upset, your mind's not on the job. And the field mouse says to him, listen, I've fallen in love with this guinea pig. Slimy frogs, I know, you always talk about her. Well, yeah, I love her. But I don't know if she loves me. The slimy frog says, well, have you asked her? Yes, of course I've asked her. Well, what does she say? Well, she says she loves me. She said she loved me the day she met me. She loves me this very day, and she will love me till the day that I die. Well, there you go. But the mouse says, but does she really think that? And so the slimy frog says, listen, in the center of the lonely forest, there is a lake, and they call it the Lake of Truth. It's said that if you drink from the lake, you can hear the inner thoughts of the one you're with. Why don't you go for a walk, take her down by the Lake of Truth, drink some of the water, and then ask her the question, and then you'll know. Well, he thinks this is a great idea. So yeah, on Saturday, he goes like, will we go out for a walk? Absolutely. They go for a walk right to the heart of the lonely forest, right to the Lake of Truth. And then he says, oh, I'm parched, I'm just going to have a little drink. He scurries down, drinks the water, then runs up to her and says, tell me one more time, do you love me? And she says, of course I love you. I loved you the day I met you. I love you this very day, and I shall love you till the day that I die. And then he waits, and sure enough, he hears her inner thoughts. Of course I love you. I love you this very day. I loved you the day I met you. I will love you till the day that I die. Oh my goodness, he is elated. He is so happy. Finally, he feels confident, and they have a wonderful day together. He tells a slimy frog, and they celebrate. But then something strange happens. He doesn't turn up for work. Nobody knows where he is. Some people go to his house, nobody's there. Eventually, he comes back, and he is so distraught. The slimy frog's like, what happened? Well, says the little field mouse, it turns out that the guinea pig was having an affair with another mouse, one with a shinier nose and nicer fur than mine. What? Said his friends. One said, well, was the lake broken? No. Was it cursed? No. Was it a lying lake? No. She didn't love me. She only thought that she did. You see, we think that if we can get into the inner thoughts of the other, we will know what they know, we will know what they desire. But what if the other is not just a mystery to us? The other is a mystery to themselves. What if knowing the inner thoughts of the other person wouldn't give us any real insight into what the other desires? Because most of the time our desires are utterly foreign to us. We are enigmas to ourselves, not knowing why we're even here in this room tonight, not knowing what brings us into a space like this. That's the problem with the movie What Women Want. The question Freud was asking was not what's in the thoughts of the other person, but what's going on in their desire.